You who's been doubting, worrying, pacing the floors at night wondering, will it ever happen for me? Let me give you a principle so potent, so magnetic, that if you live by it, it will bend the world to your will. Act as if everything always works out. You see, when I began my journey, I wasn't surrounded by success. I was buried in uncertainty, but something inside me whispered, what if you acted as if the universe had already decided in your favor? Not hoping, not begging, assuming in that one shift, that audacious faith moved mountains I could not see. When a man acts as if everything works out, something remarkable happens. His mind stops resisting and his spirit starts creating. He walks into rooms as if he belongs there because he knows he does. He speaks dreams aloud, not with hesitation, but with authority. Faith, my friends, is not soft. It is not passive. Faith is force. You don't get what you want. You get what you believe. And when you act like it's already yours, your belief grows teeth. Suddenly, people notice. Doors you didn't knock on open wide. And even when storms roll in, you stand tall because you're already anchored in the truth. This, too, is part of the plan. Now, let me tell you something crucial. Your subconscious mind, it's listening. It doesn't care what's true. It cares what you repeat. If you speak fear, it builds barriers. But if you say, Priel, this will work out, this is working out, everything is unfolding for my greatest good, then your mind starts to search for confirmation. Your brain becomes a magnet, not for chaos, but for clarity, opportunity, and results. And here's the twist. No one talks about, Ferdinand, the things that don't go your way, the rejections, the losses. They're not setbacks. They're reroutes. A delay is not a denial. It's preparation. If you believe all things work out, then even the bad days are stepping stones, not stumbling blocks. You'll look back and thank the obstacles for shaping the very strength you needed to succeed. You must start walking as the man or woman you intend to become, not after the success, not after the applause. Now, speak the words, carry the posture, make decisions as if the outcome is already in your favor. Because when you do, the universe takes notice, And now I leave you with this. The difference between those who live in quiet desperation and those who rise to greatness is not talent. It's not luck. It's the bold, unshakable decision to believe, to act, and to persist as if everything is working out, because in truth, it always has been. It always will be. You just have to believe it long enough for the world to catch up. You now go. Walk in the certainty of your success and act like it's all already done. Act as if everything always works out. You see, when I began my journey, I wasn't surrounded by success. I was buried in uncertainty. I had no golden ladder to climb, no millionaire mentor to whisper secrets in my ear. What I had was something far greater, a decision to live not in fear, but in faith, not to react to the world, but to command it, with my belief, my attitude, and my unwavering inner certainty. Now, let me tell you something I've learned from 1,000 battles fought. In the mind and in the marketplace, your reality obeys your assumptions. What you expect, you attract. What you believe, you begin to build, and what you assume to be true, the world rearranges itself to match. When you act as if everything always works out, you're not lying to yourself. No, you're leading yourself. You're stepping ahead of your circumstances. You're teaching your brain and your soul how to walk in alignment with success, even when the evidence isn't there yet. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine a man walking into a business meeting. He has no million-dollar track record, but his shoulders are back, his chin is up, and his words carry the tone of inevitability. He speaks not from need, but from certainty. He doesn't say, I hope this works. He says, this will work. People feel it. They may not be able to define it, but they trust it, because belief has a frequency. Confidence is contagious. The man who acts as if everything works out doesn't wait for permission. He claims the room because he's already claimed the vision in his mind. And that, my friend, is the power of assumption. It's not just thinking positively, it's living in the outcome before it's real. It's building the mental blueprint so vividly that your body, your behavior, your results must rise to match it. You don't plant a seed and say, maybe it won't grow. You plant it, you water it, you expect the harvest. That's how you must treat your dreams. You have to act as if the soil has already accepted your vision, as if success is not optional but inevitable, as if it's not a matter of if, but only when. Faith is the bridge between vision and reality. Vision alone is not enough. A man may see in his mind the grand estate, the thriving business, the life of purpose and peace. But if he lacks faith, that vision remains a shadow, a dream deferred, a castle built in smoke. Vision shows you the destination, but faith is the bridge that carries you across the gap between where you are and where you intend to be. I remember sitting in a cold, dimly lit room, notebook in hand, heart full of dreams bigger than my circumstances. The world outside whispered reasons to quit. Poverty, rejection, time, fear. But within me burned something louder than those doubts. Faith, a quiet, unwavering conviction that I wasn't born to merely exist. I was born to create. That belief didn't make the path easier, but it made it possible. Faith is not blind. No, faith sees more than the natural eye. Faith sees beyond the noise of the now. It hears a yes, even when the world says no. Faith allows you to move forward, not because you see the whole staircase, but because you trust the next step will rise to meet you. That kind of faith is rare, but it's also magnetic. People sense it. They feel it in your voice, your presence, your choices, and what's more, the universe responds to it. And when you begin to walk in faith, events begin to conspire in your favor. Not overnight, not always, obviously, but consistently, faithfully, even miraculously. Faith changes how you speak, how you react, how you recover from setbacks. It keeps your eyes on the goal when distractions try to pull you down into mediocrity. It holds your posture when fear tries to buckle your knees. I've seen it again and again. A man with little more than a dream and unshakable faith achieves more than the man with all the resources but no belief. Because resources without faith are wasted, but faith without resources creates new ones. You see, reality does not shape your faith. Your faith shapes reality. What you affirm with confidence becomes the lens through which your life unfolds. If you wake up each morning and carry yourself as someone destined to succeed, you condition your mind to create that success, even when logic says otherwise. Your faith doesn't wait for proof. It becomes the proof. It moves first. It acts boldly. It believes fiercely. Because faith doesn't need evidence to move. Faith is the movement. It is the bridge. The subconscious mind responds to belief, not doubt. This is one of the most vital truths a person can ever understand. Your subconscious mind is not logical. It is not skeptical. It does not argue, nor does it weigh the pros and cons like a court judge. No. Your subconscious is purely obedient. It listens to repetition. It absorbs emotion. And above all, it responds most powerfully to the certainty of belief. You may speak words with your mouth, but it is the belief behind those words that gives them power. A man may say, "I'll succeed," but if in his heart he's filled with fear, his subconscious is not moved by the sentence. It is ruled by the feeling. You see, the subconscious mind is not tricked by hollow affirmations. It is activated by genuine conviction. If you believe deeply that everything always works out for you, your subconscious will begin to filter the world through that belief. It will help you notice opportunities others overlook. It will nudge you toward the right people, the right rooms, the right decisions. It becomes a silent partner working beneath the surface, arranging, building, magnetizing your external world to reflect your internal certainty. But if your mind is filled with doubt, confusion, and fear, then your subconscious obeys that too. It becomes a mirror. It reflects not your hopes, but your assumptions. It doesn't ask whether the belief is good or bad, only whether it is true to you. And the more often you repeat it, through thoughts, words, and feelings, the more deeply it embeds that belief into your reality. That's why I tell you, never speak words you don't want your life to echo. And when you say nothing works out for me, your subconscious doesn't say that's just frustration. It says understood. Let's make that true. When you say I always fail, it begins collecting evidence to fulfill that prophecy. But when you say everything is working out for me, even this, your subconscious starts to adapt your behavior and perception to fulfill that command. This is not mysticism. This is mental programming. The subconscious is like fertile soil. It will grow whatever seed you plant. Whether you plant weeds of worry or flowers of faith, it will not protest. It will simply grow what it is given. So ask yourself, what am I teaching my mind to believe through my repetition, my inner dialogue, my daily posture? Because what you believe consistently, your subconscious will live out automatically. And once your subconscious accepts a belief, it becomes effortless to act in alignment with it. Your habits change. Too many people see failure as the end, a closed door, a signal to quit. But those who rise, those who achieve the extraordinary, they look at failure not as punishment, but as preparation. They understand that life does not give you setbacks to break you. It gives you redirections to shape you. Let me say this clearly. Failure is feedback from destiny. It is not here to stop you. It's here to guide you. That deal that didn't close, that dream that collapsed, that relationship that ended. What if those weren't mistakes, but movements? What if that delay, that disappointment, that detour was the exact experience your soul needed to be ready for what's coming? When you act as if everything always works out, you stop seeing failure as defeat and start seeing it as divine strategy. You begin to trust the unseen hand that is rearranging your path, even when it looks like chaos. I remember a time in my own life when everything I built seemed to fall apart. The investments went south. The opportunities dried up. Friends vanished. It felt like loss. But deep inside, I chose to believe this is not the end. It's the middle of a better plan. And do you know what happened? In that space of apparent destruction, I discovered a new level of wisdom, a new kind of courage, and doors opened that I never even knew existed. Had I not failed, I never would have become who I needed to be. That's what failure does. It shapes you. It strips away the illusions and demands your growth. It makes you dig deeper, stand taller, and lean into faith more fiercely than ever before. When you act like everything is unfolding perfectly, even when it's painful, you rise above the storm. You train your mind to ask better questions. Sarant, what is this teaching me? What strength is this developing in me? What better path is this pushing me toward? Because if you can truly believe that even your setbacks are sacred, you stop resisting them. You begin to cooperate with life. Instead of fighting it, you carry yourself differently. You move forward not in fear, but in faithful expectation. And that energy, that mindset, that posture, it begins to change how people see you, how doors open for you, and how swiftly you recover and rise. Every detour has a design. Every no hides a better yes. When you act like the hard moments are not interruptions, but instructions, your mind becomes powerful beyond measure. Because you are no longer controlled by the moment, you are led by the mission. When you believe everything works out, everything begins to obey that belief. There is a law invisible but undeniable that governs your results. What you believe, you begin to create, not just in thought, but in rhythm, in energy, in behavior, and eventually in reality. When you truly believe that life is working in your favor, your entire system, mind, body, and spirit, aligns with that conviction. You walk differently. You speak differently. You decide differently. Belief is the ignition switch of destiny. Think about it. When someone believes they are cursed, they shrink. They second-guess every step. They sabotage opportunities. Why? Because they assume that failure is inevitable. But when someone believes everything is always working out for them, even the storms become fuel. They become unshakable, not because life is easy, but because they no longer interpret adversity as final. And here's the secret. The world responds to your energy long before it responds to your words. If you enter a room believing you're in the right place, people feel that certainty. If you begin a project believing it's already successful, your actions become precise and powerful. If you wake up each morning and declare, this day is mine, and no matter what happens, it's happening for me, not to me, your subconscious gets the message And so does the universe. That belief doesn't just live in your mind. It seeps into your tone, your timing, your perception. You begin to see doors where others see walls. You spot miracles others call coincidences. You start taking risks, not because you're reckless, but because you know there's a safety net beneath you, even if you can't see it yet. People will look at you and ask, how do things always work out for them? It's not magic. It's alignment. It's a result of belief so persistent that the world can't help but respond in kind. And make no mistake, this belief must be practiced. It must be reinforced. You don't just adopt it once and forget it. You wake up and choose it again and again until it becomes automatic, until it becomes who you are. When you make belief your foundation, your thoughts become fertile ground. Your plans take root faster. Your relationships deepen. Your timing improves. Why? Because your entire being begins to operate from a place of certainty. And here's the beauty of it. The more you live in this belief, the more evidence you'll gather to support it. One thing works out, then another, then something even B.